Uh-oh, the most bipolar franchise I've ever laid my eyes on. This should be fun. Not to mention this fan base is so die-hard for some reason, it's a little disturbing. But anyway, let's get into it. First up, we got Aquaman, and if you hate this movie, I hate you. Okay, maybe it's not that serious, but this is a good-ass film. So good, in fact, that I have no shame in putting it at above average. That's right. I didn't stutter. I'm standing my ground. This shit's fire. The reason I like this so much is that I kind of has that Dark Knight feel to it. What I mean by this is that Dark Knight has more than one villain, and so does this, and both villains affect the story differently. Jason Momoa is obviously amazing, and I can't wait for him as Lobo. Only problems I really have are that Black Manta's motive ain't too good. He says Aquaman killed his father, but his father shot a missile at him. I got a couple other small little problems as well, but overall it's above average, especially for this franchise. Next is Batman vs. Superman, and this is pretty controversial. I'm normally very on and off about this, but currently I'm putting this in pretty bad. I mean just super sloppy and weird, and then you got this clown posing as Lex Luthor. I do like how Batman realizes how much damage was done after Superman's whole fight, and that definitely makes for a good story, but the script really holds this back. I might get hate for that, but it's not good in my opinion. Now we've got Birds of Prey and whatever the fuck the other words are in this mile-long title. I'm not gonna waste any time. This is pretty bad. Only thing keeping me watching was my Pookie Bear Margot, but even then it was tough to get through. Not very interesting or memorable, if I'm being honest. Oh, now we got Black Adam, and I'm gonna say it. This is a solid movie. Yep, I know most of you are probably fuming, but I think they did a decent job on this. Is The Rock corny? Of course. Is the CGI bad at some points? Of course. But I'll be damned if I said this movie didn't make me feel like a little kid again. Growing up, I was always a big Dwayne Johnson fan, so to see him finally play a hero, or anti-hero, I don't even know, but it was badass. Now we got Blue Beetle and Oh My from the trailers and the early hype. I was expecting this to be huge, but then it came out, and I don't know anyone that watched it in theaters. But aside from that, I think it's pretty solid, pretty generic origin story, but definitely entertaining. The guy from Cobra Kai is actually a good casting for Blue Beetle, so you gotta love that. Fun movie if you ask me. Oh God, 2017 Justice League is up now, and I think y'all know where this goes. Just absolutely bottom of the barrel. I had fun with it in theaters, but I was like 10, so yeah. When you have lines like this,
Hello, no.
and CGI mustaches like this, you better expect some hate. If you want to do a Justice League movie right, just do the exact opposite of what they did. We got Man of Steel next, and I like this movie a lot. Above average. I like how it was a movie that was setting up for another movie to tie right into it, and I think it did that well. Obviously, Batman vs. Superman wasn't good, but I appreciate the effort. Henry Cavill is clearly such an amazing Superman, and I think he fits with what this movie asked of him very well. My only problem is that what they were asking wasn't who Superman is. Having him kill Zod is not a Superman move at all. Overall, I would have liked it a lot more if it wasn't so damn dark, but I don't mind it and think it's pretty damn good. Next up is Peacemaker, and it's weird to put a show with movies, but too late now. This is GOAT tier. Can you tell that I'm severely biased for James Gunn? Don't worry, you will later. Anyway, I think this is easily John Cena's best role he's ever had. I guess I'm just a sucker for when people make unpopular characters popular, and that's exactly what James Gunn does. I love this show, and Peacemaker and Vigilante's friendship is hilarious. If you haven't seen this show, please go watch it. You'll have so much faith in James Gunn's DCU afterwards. Shazam! Sorry, I adore this film. It's above average without a doubt. Zachary Levi is so fucking hilarious and plays such a good man-child that it makes it feel real. I don't know, maybe it's because Shazam is one of my favorite DC characters of all time, but I think this movie rocks. The suit, the score, the acting. Well, actually, it's a little corny at some points, but still. The villain, it's all so peak. It's understandable if you don't like this, but I just couldn't relate to anyone who doesn't. Now we got Shazam's sequel, Fury of the Gods. Like most sequels, it's worse than its original by a little bit. I'll put it in solid, but you could argue that it's pretty bad too. I really wanted to put it in GOAT because of this, but I had to pinch myself and come back to reality, and the reality is, it's mid. Entertaining, but not really near the first one at all, if I'm being honest. The Flash is up next, and oh my lord, is this a weird movie? It's weird because I don't hate the story, but I absolutely despise the execution. Fuck Ezra Miller. He should have been put in prison and not in another movie. Oh, and by the way, if you get mad that I just called Ezra a guy, fucking cope, okay, I'm ranting here. Besides that piece of shit, there are a number of other things I don't like about this movie, including the atrocious CGI that I could have done better myself using CapCut, the weird Batman suit they went with, and completely using the lasso of truth wrong. You ask the person a question and they answer it truthfully. They don't just start spewing random shit. Now for another session of glazing, James Gunn we have, I'm just gonna say S Squad that way. This doesn't get some weird strike or something. But yeah, this is goated. I said, and I'll say it again if you didn't hear me. This is goated. Oh, and did I mention this? You're welcome, boys. This is how you do the S Squad, not this. We'll get to that abomination soon. Don't worry. Yeah, this movie rocks and the comedy hits at the perfect moments. Next up is Wonder Woman 84. And I won't dive too deep into this because I can't remember it fully, but from what I do remember, Gal Gadot looks the part, but her acting is just not it. Not just her acting is what makes this pretty bad though. The villain, who I think was Cheetah, but I don't even remember to be honest. Just super forgettable and unnecessary. Second to last is Zack Snyder's Justice League, and unlike the movie, I'm gonna make this short. It takes everything from the original and amplifies it just a little bit to make it better. It's above average. All right, lastly, we have this abomination. And here's the two good things about this literal pile of shit. This motherfucker Jared Leto is like Midas, but instead of anything he touches turning to gold, it's just a goddamn poop emoji. Can't stand that motherfucker. Will Smith is decent for what he was given, and Margot Robbie is obviously my queen. But other than that, I don't like anything about this. I don't even want to give this any more attention. You know what? No, I'm tired of bad movies taking our money and thinking they can get away with it. I'm so tempted to start a petition on removing this movie from any streaming services and moving on with our lives like it never happened. Not to mention, and I know I'm going to get some hate on this one, but 21 Pilots is so damn corny, and their songs in this are just so depressing and weird that it kind of repulses me. Oh, and Jared Leto, don't even think I was done with you. You're like those comments on TikTok saying, bro, let's start a podcast. But instead of the podcast, it's acting. I can't stand this dude. I want everyone to understand that. I do not like Jared Leto. We clear? Good. Okay, please stop me. Now I don't want to think about this again. But besides that, if you enjoyed the vid, make sure to like and subscribe. And as always, don't be like him. Also, I drew a blank and forgot two things in this vid. First one I forgot was to talk about why I put the original Wonder Woman in solid. I think it's definitely better than Wonder Woman 84, but Gal Gadot's acting, like I said previously, just isn't good. Ares is such a cool villain though, and overall it's not a terrible movie. Second thing forgotten was that the creator of this tier list didn't put Aquaman the Lost Kingdom in here, which is okay because it was probably made before the movie came out, but let's just pretend that I put it at solid as well. Had its moments, and Jason Momoa was probably the most Jason Momoa he's ever been in this, which is awesome. Anyways, my bad boys. Let's roll the outro again. Don't be like this guy.